We are very fortunate. We have the hosts of And That's Why We Drink here on Podsauce, which this is a massive, massive podcast. They've had over 80 million downloads. So Christine and Em, welcome.
No, thank you so much. Look, if you have an issue with the supernatural, I'm at least your go-to. I'm also scared of it, even though I'm the one talking about it all the time. So I just want to, before we get into it, want to let you know now I'm equally terrified.
Yeah, Em is Jewish and is the first person to start saying the Our Father the second anything scary happens. So don't worry, like you're in good hands here. We're not like braver than you are.
How are you reporting on this stuff though? Because I listened to an episode recently. It was the mac and cheese Cauldron of Mac and Cheese episode, and it was all about Agnes the witch and how she was like tortured at the stake and all these creepy things. How do you report on that if it freaks you out so much, Em?
Well, someone's got to do it, I guess. I am terrified of it, but I think I find some sort of comfort in, at least it's happening to someone else for the moment. So at least I can pretend it's a scary movie versus really happening in real life. Also, we talk about UFOs and aliens. Those are more Christine's thing that freaks her out. So I think of it a lot of times as, even if I'm being freaked out, it's more fun to like scare my friend.
I don't know how you volunteered as tribute to talk about like all things like demon and witches and all those other things, because it's just not my bag. Now, oddly enough, UFOs and such. Here for you, Christine.
Oh, that stuff scares me. I don't know what it is about aliens, but this just next level.
You know they're real, right?
That's probably why I'm so scared.
Oh, they're 100% real. I feel like, to me at least, usually when we talk about ghosts, I'm the 100% believer and Christine's the skeptic. But when it comes to UFOs, I feel like we're pretty much in agreement that that's totally real. So.
For sure. It's so funny because Dax and I, when they brought to our attention your podcast, which has millions of viewers. So, but there's a reason why I didn't know about it because, again, demons, no thank you. But Dax and I, whenever we get a new podcast brought to our attention, we try to listen to it. So we try to do our Googles and our research.
Sure.
Let me tell y'all, I love y'all. I love the energy. I think it was the Cauldron episode 2. But they mentioned something about like a demonic spirit, and I was in my bathroom like getting ready. I was like, that's not the energy I want. So I'm staging my apartment down. I'm like, no, thank you.
That is the one thing. Alicia will not listen to anything supernatural when she's in her own home. She's like, nope, not having it. I want to know, you guys have hit over 80 million downloads on your podcast, which is unbelievable. Congratulations on that. But how did this really come about? How did you guys know that, hey, we want to do a podcast and it was going to really resonate as well as it did?
So we met in grad school. And when I first met Christine, she actually taught me what a podcast was. And we realized we became friends at a harvest festival. Or we knew each other before, but we didn't know each other very well. And I asked her to come with me to a harvest festival to get closer.
It was very romantic.
We were on a tractor ride and we had nothing to do, but we were kind of forced to talk to each other. And since it was Halloween and spooky, I was like, oh, do you believe in ghosts? And, she started talking about true crime, and it ended up turning into her asking if I listened to any true crime podcasts. And I said, what's a podcast? And so she introduced me to all the ones that she listened to. And very quickly in our friendship, it became like a mainstay that we always talked about where we were in the podcast. And eventually I just said, would you want to start one with me? And, worst case scenario, only our moms listen to it, but at least we'll have like our friendship from the very beginning on record, and we can like hear ourselves from the very beginning turn into best friends. So
yeah, and I want to brag real quick on Em because they probably won't mention it, but Em was actually a professional paranormal investigator in college, and so meeting Em, I know, and so I got like the special scoop, and I was like, we're gonna share this with the world.
I didn't realize that. I did not know that. That is crazy. How do you even get into that, Em?
Well, it's a long convoluted story, but basically I ended up working for a museum, and I asked if they were if they were haunted at all, just because it was like the museum itself was like a 300-year-old building. And they said, oh, well, we're not sure, but the people across the street from us do ghost tours. They might have an answer for you. And so after my shift, my boss walked me over and introduced me, and I guess it looked like a reference. But he was handing me over. Like he was like, I don't want to work with them anymore. You can do this. And so they were answering my questions about ghosts and offered to take me on a ghost tour. And that night they gave me $20 and told me to come back the next day. So I kind of accidentally got a job. And I ended up doing that for almost all 4 years of college as my big college job.
Alicia, that's your calling right there. You could be one too.
Right. I was like, Em, are you a real life Ghostbuster?
For a minute I was. We started as ghost tours, and then it became more like investigating places. Or I ended up going off on my own from that job and working with different volunteer organizations that would get calls from people saying there's something going on in my house. Do you want to come try to debunk it for us?
Oh, no, that's too far.
Then I started doing my own overnight lockdowns with equipment and stuff like that.
Oh, God, no.
So anyway, when I met Christine, we were brand new friends, and it was a nice selling point to someone who likes creepy stuff that she would get me and a Ghostbuster.
Wait, so when outside was open, right? Have you guys ever had anyone in studio with you? Have you ever done or has the bulk of what you guys been doing been over Zoom? Or I asked that because, this question mainly is for you. Have you ever been in the presence of someone that you felt that there was a demon on their back? You felt that there was a spirit around them. Have you ever been in that situation?
Christine. No,
yeah,
I'm
I
just
knew
kidding.
it. I was like, don't throw me under the bus. This is going to be a perfect segue.
There's a reason we do it on Zoom. I can't be near her anymore. So no, I haven't actually. I feel like I've been in places that were clearly dark, but I don't think I've ever walked up to somebody and felt something really dark attached to them. But we have at our own live shows had people who I guess are more sensitive to that stuff come to us and say, oh, by the way, the whole time that you were on stage, there was a solid black shadow hovering over you. So we might actually be the people.
That was bad. At one show, actually, Em was telling a ghost story, and one of the lamps above us just exploded in the middle of the show, and we weren't filming it or recording it, so we didn't get it on audio, but the whole place started screaming, and then the lighting people were like, these are brand new light bulbs. We don't know how you broke it, but you broke it. So we just got out of there real quick, but that was pretty odd.
That is so creepy. Now, Christine, at what point did you guys realize this podcast is it's taking off? I'm assuming this is your guys' full-time job now. Is that correct?
It sure is. Yeah,
So,
we didn't think it would happen, but here we are.
That's amazing. So was it a certain episode, or was it attention or someone talking about this podcast that really rocket launched it? I'm curious about the trajectory of the whole thing.
So at the beginning, we both had kind of, classic LA jobs. I was working a temp job and dog walking and, trying to be a writer and the whole thing. While I was at my temp job, don't tell them, but I was basically spending all my time trying to build up our Twitter following and try to, promote the show. And eventually, I think it was about 6 months in, we got a few DMs on Twitter, and we'd only ever heard from friends of family or friends of friends. And I started realizing these were strangers, and I would text Em do you know Lisa so-and-so? And Em would say, no, do you? And we started realizing strangers were listening to our show, and that was very exciting. And then a few months after that, I think it was about 8 or 9 months in, maybe a year in, we got an email from a booking agent who was like, I want to book you on live shows. And I thought it was a scam. So I deleted it for the first, I deleted it. I was like, there's no way, this guy's trying to scam us. And it turns out he was like, no, let's do a live show. So we did a Hollywood improv show, and that felt, very big and exciting. And I think that's kind of when we were like, wow, we're, people are coming to see us live. And that was pretty cool. So eventually it became, we had to leave our day jobs, so to speak.
That first Hollywood improv job, the show.
It was a job.
Well, it was a job for me. I actually had had debilitating stage fright. So that was a real, that was our first speed bump in the podcast where I was like, well, I guess I have to do this. We're going to figure it out. But our first Hollywood improv show that we did happened to be right after Zach Galifianakis did a spot, and so we like to say that Zach Galifianakis opened for us.
Yeah,
So,
he doesn't like that we say that, I'm sure,
Fair.
but we say it.
It's like we say we're Oprah adjacent. A win is a win. You know, we'll take
Oprah
it.
adjacent is excellent. Yeah.
She has a podcast. We have a podcast. We're Oprah adjacent.
What's the difference?
I like to say I'm Oprah adjacent because I worked on the show Greenleaf, which is one of my favorite shows, and it was Oprah produced it, and she actually starred in part of it. And so I like to think I'm also Oprah adjacent.
You're
so.
Way
Your
to show
coworkers.
us up, Em. Way to show us
Yep.
up.
Oh, well, look, I don't know if you've watched Greenleaf, but if you haven't, I like to shout it out to everybody. It's like the best show I've ever watched.
It's
so.
good. It's good. What do you guys think? Because listening to the two of you, you both have very beautiful personalities. What is it? What is it about your podcast do you feel resonates? I mean, 80 million downloads. What do you think it is? Is it the intrigue of the paranormal, or what, like true crime? I mean, we all love true crime.
I think we were at least one of the first shows, if not the first show, to combine supernatural and true crime. And I also think one of the heartwarming reasons that we've done so well is that we really did start out as brand new friends and we didn't know anything about each other. And so it was our way of getting to know each other and giving us a reason to make plans to see each other every week. But what people have really grown to love is from episode 1, you can see our friendship actually become a friendship. So we were learning things about each other while everybody else was.
Yeah,
so
I think it was episode
journey.
13 where I learned that Em had graduated from clown college as a youth. And so, fun facts like that I had no clue. Everybody got to learn alongside me. So I feel like it's kind of a bonding with the audience. Like, what the hell is
college, Ghostbuster. I mean, you are quite the character.
I forgot they said that because when I found out that they went to clown college, I was like, nope. I meant to tell you that.
I've lived quite a few lives. So I think one of the reasons that we've done so well is just because I think at least most shows, people already either know each other or they are coworkers in some way, but we really, from episode 1, didn't know each other and you got to learn with us. So
amazing. And, I wanted to ask, when people come on this show, we like to see what they are listening to, what is interesting to people that are in this profession of podcasting and really involved in it. Em, is there anything that you could recommend to our audience that is just a great podcast that you enjoy?
Yeah, I have 3 and they're all very different. One, I really like Radio Rental, which is produced by Rainn Wilson and his team. And he also now has a spinoff called Dark Air. One of my friends runs this one, but I really, really love An Acquired Taste. It's a more of a it's kind of like our show, but instead of it being entirely spooky themed, it's just more like a random fun facts. They pick a random topic every week and just kind of deep dive into it. And then I also recently learned during the pandemic, actually, that I was very late diagnosed with ADHD. And so I like to get on my little ADHD platform. And if you are wondering if you have it, or if you know someone, if you love someone who has it, please go listen to Infinite Quest. They are an ADHD podcast that have taught me literally everything about myself. So please go check it out if you'd like to.
Awesome. I like the recommendations. Christine, what about you?
Oh yeah, I'm a podcast addict. I listen to like millions, but the one that Em and I initially bonded over that I listen to as kind of a break from all the spooky stuff is My Dad Wrote a Porno, which is just a classic. I don't know if you guys have listened. Oh, it's so good. It's this guy in the UK, and his dad actually was retired, and he found out his dad wrote like a self-published like erotica from the mind of like a 60-something-year-old white man. And so, they read each week they read a different chapter, he and his friends, and it's just like very heartwarming and also kind of gross, but like really fun to listen to. It's classic, and it's one of those that you can listen to over and over again and like just puts you in a good mood. So that's always my go-to rec.
Hey, listen, you had me at the title, so I'm in.
My Dad Wrote
That's all it takes.
Oh,
Well, thank you both so much for joining us. Again, congratulations. And if anyone wants to check out their podcast, if you haven't already, if you haven't been one of the 80 million
80
downloads
million,
they've
thank
got,
you.
definitely head on over to the Odyssey app and check out. And That's Why We Drink. And of course, they're on any other social platform that you want to check them out. But great podcast. Enjoy your guys' content. Please keep it up.